decide what kind of firewood you use for your barbecue. And I mean, the firewood is where it all starts, right? You use the wrong wood on the wrong cut of meat, you're going to be in big trouble, in my opinion. So I'm going to go over a couple different kinds of wood that I like to use, which one I use every single day in my restaurant for different cuts of meat. So a good rule of thumb, in my opinion, is to use what's in abundance in your area, right? So in Northwest Indiana, where I'm at, we have a lot of oak trees, and that's what I use in my restaurant. So this is a piece of oak wood, right? And I can tell by picking up this piece of wood that it's pretty green, meaning it's heavy for its size. It has a lot of moisture left in it, right? So if you were going to start a fire right away just using green wood, so to speak, it's going to take a little longer to get your fire up and running, get it up nice and hot, get your smoker burning to the temperature you want. I always go for like 275 is my magic number. So generally speaking, the weight of the wood, if you're not sure, it's a good indicator on how cured or seasoned the wood is. Typically, the heavier it is, the more moisture it has in it, the more smoke you're going to get from it, right? The lighter it is, the more cured it is, the hotter it's going to burn. For me in my restaurant, right, I like to use a combination of the two if I can. So this is about 6 months old, and then this piece here is about a year old. And I find that the combination of the two gives you a nice slow round heat with the young wood and a quicker, hotter burn with the older wood. So the combination of the two, just from experimenting over the years, has definitely my go-to, and you're going to get some spectacular barbecue on it. Whatever you do, right, don't buy wood from a home improvement store. I see them sell it all the time. Comes in like a bag next to the grills and smokers they're selling. That stuff is kiln dried, meaning it's super lightweight and it's going to burn extremely fast. You're going to need a lot of it. You're going to have problems maintaining your fire temperatures. You're going to keep chucking logs into your smoker, and it's just going to ignite really fast. In my opinion, stay away from it. So where can you get, firewood from? My best bet is social media. Check on Facebook, things like that. People are always selling firewood on there. They had maybe a tree come down in a storm, and they're saying, hey, if you got a truck and a chainsaw, come get it, even sometimes. So it's almost free in a sense. Craigslist is another good way to find some places that people are selling firewood. I get asked all the time, why do you like oak wood? Why do you use oak wood, Jason? Well, number one, it burns clean. Number two, it gives me a good even heat throughout my longer cooks, right? Some of those things like briskets, when you're up there minimally 12 hours on a cook, I feel like it just maintains a good temperature. When I put a new piece on, I know how much my smoker temperature is going to go up from it, give or take 5 degrees or so. And, that just comes with practice and experience. And the flavor profile, if you're talking about a smoke intensity ladder, I'll have like 3 stages, right? I'm going to talk to you about hickory and mesquite next, but oak wood would be at the bottom, meaning it's the least strength of a flavor profile, if that makes sense. Because if you got to think about it like this, right? The wood you're using is a seasoning. I season my briskets and my pork shoulders at my restaurant with kosher salt and black pepper. That's it. And then I get all my flavor from the oak wood. Then we will kind of move up the smoke intensity ladder, right? Next step up would be hickory, and that's what I would use as my second wood of choice if I couldn't get oak. And it kind of has the same characteristics of oak, and it's a little bit stronger in flavor profile, but again, it's not going to overpower the flavor of the meat, right? So your brisket's still going to taste like beef. Your pork shoulders or ribs are still going to taste like pork, if that makes any sense to y'all. It does to me. Also burns nice and clean, burns even, burns nice and hot, and you get a clean smoke from it. It's not like cloudy, it's not harsh looking or anything like that. It's pretty transparent if you're looking at your smokestack when you're burning hickory. So that's another couple reasons why I like that one. And also, it's good to do on something on a longer cook. You'd be fine doing it. Say 10-12 hours, or you want to put shrimp on, or your sausage or your chicken, you'd be totally fine with using hickory as well. to talk about is mesquite, right? So back to that smoke intensity ladder, it's going to be all the way at the top. You're going to get the strongest smoke flavor into your meats out of mesquite wood. Now, I don't recommend using mesquite wood for longer cooks, like your briskets and your shoulders, because if you're not careful with it, it's going to overpower the flavor of your food. And believe it or not, right? So, with having said that, my second cousin was up from the Ennis, Texas area, in kind of northeast Texas, and he had lunch at my restaurant, and he was talking about briskets, and he was saying that he likes to use mesquite wood for his briskets, and I was kind of taken back by that because it's such a strong wood to use, and if you're not careful with it, your end result is just going to end up almost like feeling like you're chewing on charcoal, in my opinion. It's a little bit too strong for my taste buds, so I tend to steer away from it. What I would use it for, if I was going to burn mesquite wood, is something like grilling, because mesquite wood gets extremely hot, extremely fast, so something like grilling would be perfect, right? Something maybe 20 minutes or less. You want to smoke some shrimp, you want to put some sausage on, you want to put some, you could probably get away with chicken if you wanted to do mesquite, but if you're not careful with it, your product's going to get really dark really fast and almost have this like bitter taste to it. I'll talk about is kind of like fruit and nut woods, right? You can use pecan wood. It'd probably be in between like a hickory and a mesquite, so I would recommend using that for like something about 4 or 5 hours. So like ribs would be about it. I wouldn't recommend using it for shoulders or briskets. Ribs are about anywhere between 4 to 6 hours, so you could do that, but anything longer than that I wouldn't recommend it. Any kind of fruit woods, if you have a lot of apple trees or peach trees, sometimes even cherry trees, you can use that wood green, meaning you can cut it up and use it right away. You don't need to cure it at all, and you're going to get a nice smoke from it, and those tend to not overpower the food, in my opinion. It gives them a nice flavor. A lot of competition barbecues, you'll find people using fruit woods and nut woods in their competition stuff. I just don't have the time to do competition stuff. I've been busier than heck with my restaurant, but I'm thinking about getting into The best and worst part about barbecue, right, is it takes a long time. So it's kind of like a lost art almost, because everybody wants it done in 2 minutes. There's an app for this, there's an app for that. Nobody wants to take the time to manage a fire. I mean, it's almost kind of like it's a craft, really. It's becoming a lost art, in my opinion. And you'll have plenty of time to experiment, learn. I still learn every single day that I cook my barbecue. What kind of wood you ultimately like to use for your taste buds. You might like a mixture of oak and hickory, for example, or you might like to use mesquite wood for like the last 2 hours of your cook. And that's the fun part, right, is figuring out, playing around with it, and just having a good time, drinking your coffee or your beer or whatever. The more you barbecue, right, you get better, right? So you get better at managing your fire, maintaining your consistent temperatures. I always go for 275 degrees. I find that magic number to be great for me, for chicken wings, sausage, shoulders, briskets, ribs, right, shrimp even. I find that temperature works out really great for everything, really, in my opinion. Once you get better at those things, knowing what size piece of wood you need to fit your smoker, how that's going to affect your fire temperature. Once you get better at those few things, your barbecue is going to be a whole heck of a lot better.